Hello and welcome to my retro watches. This video is something slightly different because I've come to see my friend Andy Windle. Some of you might know Andy from the Facebook groups. He's all over them. Certainly Seiko Passion, where he's a fellow admin with myself. Andy specialises in vintage Japanese watches. He owns a company called the Vintage Japanese Watch Company. I'll pass you over to Andy. He'll tell you a little bit more about what he does because he offers a service that not many other people do.
Right, so the Vintage Japanese Watch Company, we do sales and service of vintage Japanese watches with emphasis towards Seiko and Citizen, mainly Seiko. Most of the stuff we do with is 1970s and 1980s, and the emphasis on the early digital and the early exotic quartz watches like the Grand Quartz, the Quartz Superior, lots of other models. Also electronic balance watches. So in a few minutes we'll just run over some of the watches we do.
Okay, so we're going to cut to the bench, have a look at some watches, have a look at his website, and then we're going to get into some insight and look at some of the tools he uses for these very special mechanical quartz watches.
So this is our website, the vintagejapanesewatchcompany.com. On here we have our stock. So most of our stuff is JDM, so it's Japanese domestic model gear, and there's quite an emphasis towards the exotic quartz models of the 70s, which were built very well. There's a lot of big collectors market for them, and they're just nice watches. People are interested in birth year watches. If you're not born in the 70s, you might be a little bit stuck, but you can do searches for
Try and zoom in there.
For the year, for instance, and it'll bring what we've got in stock for your year, or you can search by product, such as if you're interested in Grand Seiko, Grand Quartz, you can search for that. As you can see, if we hit on view, we've got quite a few Grands in. We normally have a lot of Grands in stock.
That's fantastic, I like that.
So, I'll just show you a few watches.
Yeah, let's have a look at the products, definitely. Now I'm proper into the 70s stuff, as most of you know. Not called retro watches for nothing, although I don't really have all that many quartz. You know, where I like working on the mechanicals, Andy has a fascination for these things, and they're not just normal quartz watches either. Some of these are super accurate, and perhaps Andy will be able to explain some of that accuracy because it is on another level, and certainly when you start thinking about what the 70s had to offer. Okay, we've got a bench full of watches, so let's go through some of them. Andy will show some of the really nice models on offer here and offer some technical insight onto the accuracy.
So this is a snapshot of some of the things we work on and some of the models that we offer for sale. This is quite a rare one, the Mini Morpho 38 series Seiko. Absolutely beautiful watch.
Try and show that on the angle so we can see that crystal. This has got the most amazing crystal ever. Look at that. That's it. Turn it the other way. It is unbelievable.
I feel like I'm on QVC.
Yes, well,
right.
It's not a deliberate sales post.
So, this is the 38 series movement, which was Seiko's first full production quartz movement. This is quite a special one, quite rare. I say rarely seen outside of Japan. Even then, they're very hard to find. Absolutely stunning watches. And then if I just go to one of the base level QRs, bog standard QR, I'd say these aren't amazing accuracy in terms of some of the stuff we've gone off of it. This is the QR, so it's 38 series movement again. And that's a standard thing. But chunky watches, they're about 10 or 11 mil thick, so they work very nicely, even though they're only 36 mil case width. So
only a 36, really?
Yeah. And they're standard 15 seconds a month accuracy, really. But then you went to the QRs, from the QRs to the VFAs, which is 38 series movement again. but your accuracy went up on those. They had a different circuit board on. So you went to 5 seconds a month. I think the spec is on those.
5 seconds a month.
But you're looking 73, 74, 1974. Bit of a space age design in the case style on these. There were 2 case styles. The other one's very, very rare. Generally, you'll see them in this case style. They've got applied minute markers. Really, really nice watches.
I'm sure that comes out on camera too well. Let's see if we can get it up.
Beautiful dials. That's a rarer black dialed version.
Possibly just see it there. I really do like this model.
That's last 38 series really to show you. Well, last but one. That's on its original bracelet. Beautiful bracelets on those.
Very nice. Yeah, I'll come out a bit. There we go.
Yeah. And again, you don't. Generally, they tend to be white dialed. This is the blue dial variant, which is a little bit rarer, but
it's got a sunburst to it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's got like a vertical line. The white one is more of a sunburst effect on the dial. I think you can just pick that up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so. But the blue one's much nicer.
Beautiful watch.
It's got a lovely case on that as well.
So this one's the daddy of them all. It's the 3883 Superior. These are super rare, and this one's one from my personal collection, to be fair. Very, very hard to find.
What makes them superior then, given their name Superior?
Generally, on all the 38 series movements, the 3803, 3823 and 3863, it's virtually exactly the same movement. There's the odd revision, but nothing too major. The main thing is the case styles, how the build is put together. I mean, these are hardened stainless steel cases. You can't polish them or anything like that. They're just really solid. The faceted markers, the applied minute markers, just the build of them. But the circuit boards, they changed on them as well, so your accuracy went up on the VFAs and the Superior version. So it's pub bragging rights basically, but they do run really, really well. These movements are quite nice as well, because if you notice, the second hand bangs straight onto the markers first time every time.
A bit of reflection there, but yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
There's like a jeweled index finger on the movement. They're built like tanks. They're absolutely superb. They're built like a mechanical watch, basically, inside, powered by Quartz.
Well, my understanding are these early Seikos, they are metal parts, they are mechanical, albeit they're just regulated by, your quartz crystal.
Yeah, exactly that. Regulated by a circuit board and powered by a battery, basically.
I think often most people, when they think of quartz, they just think it's just a cheap circuit board throwaway item, but certainly these early ones, you've got to remember that in the 70s this was new technology, so this was the cutting edge of the day, and therefore these, I guess, would have commanded a lot of money, probably more than the mechanical watches of the time, I would have thought. These were
up in the catalogues. These were at the top. These were the top of the tree. They were much more expensive than the mechanical Grand Seikos. I believe these were a price of an apartment, the Superior.
Wow. What's going to be great about the Superior as well is that a little bit later on I'm going to surprise Andy with a homage version of the Superior from a brand that you'll be quite surprised have homaged that particular watch. What we got up next, mate? What's that?
Well, this is a bit of a cue to that one, actually, because the homage is of this one. Which
is it? Right.
It's another Superior, which looks to the 30 paces, looks exactly like the 3883. But you
slightly different dial, isn't it? I think as well.
Yeah, slightly different. It's textured dial, so that's the 4883. So that's the next series along the 48 series. Okay. 1975 onwards, and the 48 series was the first time Seiko put the name Grand to a quartz watch. This one's the next one up from the Grand, which is the Superior.
Really? So a Grand Quartz was not the top?
No,
the Superior
was the next one on.
Wow.
Your Grand Quartz.
You would have thought that, nowadays you say Grand Seiko.
And that'd be it.
That's the top of the tree, isn't it? But
that's the Grand Seiko version of the 48, basically. So we always have loads of these in stock. They're absolutely superb watches.
So what does what would a grand quartz Seiko of that vintage sell for then, Andy?
We grade them on dial and case condition, basically.
Yeah.
And some are rarer than others, such as the Snowflake dials. But generally looking anywhere between 350 and 485, 495, something like that.
So that's UK pounds.
Yeah.
That's, I tell you what, that's decent. And
unbelievable watches for the money.
How accurate are we talking? How many seconds a month? Or is it all in the years?
It sort of depends which database you look at, basically. But generally, when we put these on the time grapher, they are you can regulate these. And there's a twin quartz version which runs at insane accuracy, up to 5 seconds a year. But generally, these are running to sort of 4 or 5 seconds a month.
4 or 5 seconds a month.
Even sort of, you're looking 40, 50 years on. And again, these are built like tanks. The movements are all metal. There's loads of different styles. There's squares. There's gold cap cases. This one's like a diamond dust dial.
Yeah, I like that. I like that texture. It's just about coming through, I think, on the camera.
Beautiful things. And you get that's the twin quartz version.
Okay, so tell us about a twin quartz then, because I don't know.
So it's Thermo Compensated. It's got 2 quartz in there. One to time the watch, basically regulate the watch, and the other quartz alters the timing depending on the temperature. Technical nerd time. 24 degrees is the temperature at which both the crystals talk at the same frequency, basically. Yeah, exactly. So we can time them on the Quartz Tester. We can see what both the crystals are doing, and if we get it up to 24 degrees, it should show that it's running to like 10, 20 seconds a month, depending on what model it is. They do a king quartz, twin quartz, a grand quartz, and a superior quartz. I say you can get up to as little as 5 seconds a year on these things.
That is incredible.
And often they're running within spec, even all these years on. Beautiful things.
So much better than the quartz of today.
Oh yeah, you just simply can't buy anything like this at the high street for any money, basically. So it was one of the A-days for manufacturing for this sort of thing. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
I can see we've still got some more to look at, so
I just
might as well go through the whole lot.
Flick a few more. It's just a snapshot of what we do, basically.
I realise that, yeah.
That is 19. This will be in 1994, probably. Well, need big glasses on, basically, to look at the serial number.
So we've got a Grand Seiko then, have we? Grand Quartz.
So, yeah, everything was marked Grand Quartz on these early 70s models. But these were the first ones that were marked first quartz that were marked Grand Seiko. And these were released in 1988. It's a 95-87 movement. Absolutely beautiful things. You can see as time goes on, the size of the case gets slightly smaller.
So what are we talking about? Again, 36? Maybe a bit bigger than the 36?
Yeah, between 35 and 36 on these. Okay. There are 3 variants of it. Again,
lovely dress watch, definitely.
Absolutely beautiful watches. And this movement was basically the precursor to the 9F. It's the same Japanese guy who designed this movement, the 95 movement, to design the 9F. It's more or less the same movement, same architecture.
Absolutely fascinating.
Lovely thing. And then we do all sorts of things. Basically, the anodiges from the 80s.
Yeah, I've definitely got. I mean, I have to emphasise. If any of you guys out there have got certainly Seiko old digital watches, certainly from the 70s and 80s. You need them repairing, you need them servicing. There is no one in the world really, or not many people that do it, not as a business. Whereas Andy, I mean, I've known Andy for years. We've always been going to the watch fairs together. We got into digital watches together. I mean, I'm wearing my extra special one today, which isn't coming out on video very well. This was the Seiko's, the world's first ever digital chronograph. Right. But look at it, it's absolutely amazing. And these a lot of people ask me if I can service these because I did a video on them, but I don't particularly do other people's at the minute. So if you've got something like that and you want it doing, you know, there'll be a link down below in the description. You can be able to get hold of Andy direct and get your watches fixed.
Yeah.
I know, I like this one.
This is a little bit different to the last one. Lovely 0634 that Michael's just showed, by the way. We do stock the odd one or two of those as well. Absolutely beautiful watches. This one's a bit of a rarity. It's an electronic balance watch. Many people are into the Seikos. I've seen the Seiko Elnix, EL370 and EL330 models, but these are quite a bit rare. It's Seiko's first electronic balance watch, the 31. So this one's the 31 6000, 6000 meaning the case style. So it's got the horseshoe case style, which is super rare. There's
we've only ever seen another one, haven't we, on the Facebook Passion group?
Yeah, there's not many people own them in our communities.
And what's that one dating from? Did you say the date?
This one's 1969.
1969.
They've released these in 68, so you'll see these in 1968 and 1969.
So they've got a little circuit board in there, mechanical gears, and then of course you've got a mechanical balance to do the regulation.
Yeah, exactly. That is, you just lost the mainspring basically, and you've got a battery and a coil powering the balance.
So, and what I don't know if the viewers would have noticed, but of course you get a smoother tip with that. So you got the impression of a mechanical watch, because let's face it is a mechanical watch. It's just being powered by a battery rather than a mainspring. So you got the best of both worlds. You know, you can take it off, leave it off for 2 weeks. It's still going to be telling the exact time. And I'm guessing because you will have fettled with that will be regulated really well as well.
Yeah, we do service the electronic balance watches as well. This one's from our personal collection. This one isn't for sale, but we do stock the 7000 version, which is the more traditional case style, but the same movement. So you will see them come up for sale as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, lovely things.
Okay, well, that's showing you guys some watches. I want to get on to, I'm going to try and get it in shot now, some of the machines that we got over here.
I wanted to tidy the bench up.
So everyone that's into watchmaking has got a bench probably much more messy than this. But with the added equipment that you've got, it'd be interesting just to see how this sort of stuff works.
We've got the QT 2100 Quartz Tester. Basically, when we get a watch in, we can evaluate it, see what service work it needs before we can offer it out, or if we get anything in for repair.
Well, let me set the camera up over there so we can see that a bit clearer. What's this machine then, Andy? It says the Seiko Quartz Tester. So you robbed that from Seiko for a start, I guess.
Yeah, that's, that would have been on all the Seiko text benches back in the 80s or whenever it was. So that's I've got QT99, which is the standard one. This one is a little bit more trick, so it'll talk to the twin quartz models, so it allows us to regulate those. We've got standard quartz on it at the moment, which is a 48 series Grand Seiko, and that's running, as you can see, 0.172 seconds a day. It's a little bit cool in here today. These aren't Thermo Compensator.
Okay, so
when I
you're
warm
putting
that up, it'll get a bit more accurate still.
So is this still a type of microphone or something then?
So yeah, that's a microphone. This machine will do mechanical watches as well. It's probably not the best. Just use a standard machine for doing the mechanicals, but you can do them on this as well.
I'm just trying to read what on the screen there. So we've got a countdown of
so
every 10 seconds it's taking a new reading, is it?
Yeah, so you can set the gate time on it. Seiko's got recommendations on their service sheets to what gate time to set them to, but basically it's how long it samples the watch running for before it tells me it's running at 0.17 seconds.
Very similar to a timograph, because the Wishi timographers do that. Yeah.
And so this it's picking this up, and you'll see a pulse coming up on here.
Yeah, just see that flash. Yeah.
So when we get a watch in for repair, or when we get new stock in and we're evaluating it, if it's not running, we can use this machine to see if it's got a pulse. Which is the first thing basically you do.
So it's the machine that goes ping.
Yeah, something like that.
Has it got life or not?
So you can change the gate time on here, so you can get it to run to up to 120 seconds, or down as little as 2 seconds. Standard thing is to set it on 10 seconds, basically, for your standard quartz. That will sample it for 10 seconds and then give you a result.
Could you put like just a normal, regular, cheap throwaway quartz on there and it's going to pick it up?
Any quartz watch, yeah.
Right, okay.
Exactly that.
That's absolutely fascinating. And the accuracy is just insane.
Yeah, this one's a grand.
0.178 seconds a day.
Exactly that.
And I'm happy if I get 5-10 seconds a day on a mechanical.
A standard quartz, even an expensive standard quartz watch that you buy today, will generally run at 15 seconds a month. So 0.5 seconds a day is your standard. This machine will also do digital watches. So you can set the microphone to LCD and it'll pick the timing upon that as well. So set the timing on a lot of the earlier digital watches. The new ones you can't. They just either work or they don't.
And then how do you adjust so if that rate's not to your liking?
We've got on the 48 series movement, we've got a trimmer adjustment, so we can manually wind that to basically set the timing of the watch.
Okay.
Generally, we're looking at workshop temperature is a little bit cool at the moment, so we've been looking at setting it at something like you're seeing at the moment for optimum performance. When you've got that on your wrist, it can get anything up to 30 degrees on your wrist, so it will change the timing slightly and it'll get more accurate than that. So you'll probably find on the wrist this is hardly losing anything.
Wow.
By the month, basically. And that's a Superior, so that's one of the top end watches. You've got twin quartz. If we stick a twin quartz on it, straight out of the display cabinet, so that's a little bit cool. So I can stick a twin quartz on there. You can see at the moment it's sampling in 10 seconds. It's flashing to say we've got a signal, so we know she's working, which is great. Then when the 10 seconds is up, it'll give us our preliminary reading, and it's running at 0.038 seconds a day.
And that's cold. So if that warms up, it's going to get even more accurate?
This is Thermo Compensator. Now, Seiko recommend you can't reliably set these in the normal mode, so we've got another mode for these.
Okay.
And it'll tell us it's not working. So what you have to do on these 99 series is you pull the crown out and then it'll handshake with the Quartz Tester to say, hello, I'm a 99 series. And I'll start sending you some data. So in a short while, we'll start seeing some data come up.
Yeah, well, okay, so that's changed it.
That's changed it. And what we're looking at on here is the main crystal is giving us it was 0.37, it's now 0.40. And that's what it was showing us on the previous setting, just for a standard quartz watch, and that's what the timing was. So that's what we'll be looking at setting up the main crystal. The sub-crystal is the thermo compensation. So we can warm the watch up and see that moving, and ideally it'll be absolutely perfect at 24 degrees. So it'll show no seconds a day, no seconds a day. So we can see what the watch is doing on a 99 series quartz.
So at the moment, then this reading is what, erroneous then? Is that what we're saying? It's far more accurate than that.
Yeah, exactly that. You could see when we put it on the quartz one setting, it was running 0.0 something a day. But we can set that up. We'd basically, if we're setting that watch up, we would just put it on his wrist a bit, get it up to temperature, stick it on, and then we'd set the main. Seiko recommend you don't set the sub, and the sub trimmer is actually blanked off on a lot of these watches, so you can't adjust it anyway easily. So that's how we'd set this watch up. We'll get it up to temperature first and set it at 24 degrees ish.
Absolutely fantastic, Andy. Well done.
So this one's Anidigi, and we can use our timing machine in exactly the same way on this one. So obviously this one's got analog and a digital display from the 80s. So if we put that on, we're on the normal settings. You can see it flashing on there, and that's doing the analog. We can flick the microphone over to digital LCD, pop it on here, and it changes what microphone it uses, or what sensor it uses in the microphone. So you can now see that's on all the time.
Yeah.
It's because that's reading the quartz, which is like 32K. rather than 1 tick a second. So if we let that go through its cycle, and we can see the digital part of it's running to give or take 15 seconds a month, which is about the spec of these. So, and that's full.
Oh, so you get different timings for the different. So they're not unified. So the core.
It will be the same because this is Anna-Digi, so it's working on
the same quartz
timing. Yeah. But it's picking a different part of the circuit up for when you're running analog and digital. But the purpose of putting this on is just to demonstrate you can time digital watches as well.
Sweet.
So
can we time mine?
Yes.
I'm dying to see, seeing as I rebuilt this damn thing, whether it's actually any good or not.
Just as an aside, when you time the digital, you can't be touching them. So you can see the signal changing, and it won't give you a reading.
Really? Oh, okay. Is that pedantic then? Okay.
Yeah, exactly that. So we'll give this.
This will be within 5 seconds a day.
Oops. Just let it run through one more cycle because we might have messed with it while it was mid-cycle. No, 2.5 seconds.
No, 2.5 seconds a day. So that's pretty atrocious, really.
It's not the best, but these are adjustable as well. There's as you know, because you've worked on these. The 634s have an oscillator board, which is a sub board on top of the main board, and that's got a trimmer on, so you can actually time.
You can adjust it.
Yeah, quite easily.
Well, that's probably me pickling it in alcohol and cleaning it and getting it working.
Tend to find when any of the digitals which a lot of them have had battery leaks. The first thing, the only mechanical part really on the circuit board is the oscillator trimmer, because it's a variable capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
So if that gets any fouling in it, it can change the capacitance, which can alter your timing, which is probably done on this. But 2.5 seconds is probably a lot for the trimmer, but we might be able to get that in on the trimmer, so you might be able to time that up. No problem at all.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. How bad is my digital watch?
Yeah.
Don't send a digital watch to me.
So, typical new arrival. This one's a Snowflake dialed grand quartz. Absolutely
that's ace.
Beautiful thing. So, first thing we do, I've just, the battery's completely dead in it. Already checked it for volts and it was nothing in it. So, I just put a new battery in it. Still not running. We'd have a quick check at the quick sets and quick check at time correction, and that is stiff, so it's going to need a service. Cannon pinion stiff. But why is it not running? So first thing to do is stick it on the Quartz Tester, and immediately we've got no signal, and that means
Quartz dead.
The board is not firing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's a bit of signal coming on there, just noise from me fiddling about with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's nothing at all. Generally, on the 48s from memory, if the coil's dead, it gives a signal, but once every 2 seconds rather than once every second. So I know it's a bad board on that. So we'll be putting a replacement board on that and giving the movement service. So we instantly know what work that needs doing because of this little piece of
machine. Yeah,
exactly that.
So don't you try and repair the board, or unless it's something obvious, or you just
when I put the new battery in that, I just had a quick look at the terminals. There's no signs of any leakage from the battery well, and the battery terminal at the positive side isn't corroded or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So it's likely it's not corrosion on the board. It's probably just failed for another reason, but we won't know until we've actually got it in pieces. But I have got spare boards for them, so that's not a problem at all. But movement will get serviced anyway. So
that's a typical example of someone sending you a watch. I mean, it's a beautiful watch.
Yeah.
So it has to get back into life, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Quartz Tester is meant, really, we can just diagnose what's wrong with it, what it needs within literally a minute. Mm-hmm. So...
and every time I've had a Quartz, I spend ages. I've got no technology. It's just trying to figure out what it could be.
Yeah, exactly that. Mostly, 9 times out of 10, I'd have put that on the Quartz Tester. It should have been ticking away on there. She's got a pulse, but the hands aren't moving around. All that means is because it's not been used for so long, or it's not been serviced for all those years, it's just gummed up gear train. So we know it needs a service because the time correction's slightly tight. That's all it had needed, a service, but the machine just told us that the board's dead as well, so we know exactly what we're into. But yeah, that will be revived.
Brilliant. Oh, great. Thanks for the explanation. So here we go. You can see the dreaded San Martin box in front of you, and believe it or not, San Martin have done a homage of the Seiko Superior. Not that many people would even know that it's a Seiko Superior, but here we go.
Anyway, I'm keen to look at this.
So you really want to see it.
Yeah.
So there's the original. It's there we go.
4883.
Yeah.
One of my favourite watches of all time. Wow. This is the first time I've seen one of those.
It is quite a piece.
I'm determined I'm going to hate this because it's not a vintage Japanese watch.
You've got to hate. The first obvious thing is that's an automatic. It's not a quartz.
Right, so.
This is... Let's try and get that a bit...
If they try to say this is their own design...
They're not, actually. They're not saying it's their own design at all. They're not saying anything.
Even the pattern dial is the same as the 4883 Super. It's not the same pattern, but it's the same sort of take.
The indices are...
Applied minute markers.
Yeah.
Faceted indices, or hour markers. It's got the same facets on the case. And what I love about it is somebody has actually gone to the trouble of homaging my favourite watch. So exactly. I do, for that reason, I do love it. It's probably about the same weight feeling it. The case finishes...
Well, it's as new, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's really, really polished.
It's not got the same pizzazz, but I do like it, and they've done it well. The San Martin logo, I just mentioned this to Mike a few minutes ago, actually. If we look at an early 38 series Seiko, and that is the quartz logo or badge at the bottom of the dial. So it's sort of a take on that, which is another thing I like about it, that they've homaged some of my favourite watches.
But there's hardly anybody out there would know that that's a homage or what it's homaging of. You know,
well, they've got taste.
It's amazing that San Martin have decided, you know what, we like the design of that watch. Let's make a recreation of it.
Yeah, it is,
which is almost, without saying the word, it is almost a 1-for-1 copy, isn't it? So
yeah,
there's not much difference. The handset's the same. The difference, of course, is this is smooth ticking, whereas that one isn't, and that's only going to be accurate to 5-10 seconds a day or more. It's got a seagull movement in it, actually, because the seagull, I think it's the only seagull that they can get hold of. It's got a day-date function, because most of the, like the NH35s and the PT5000s are all only date only, not the day wheel as well. I don't think it's a screw crown. I think it's a pull crown on that. Or am I wrong? No, there we go.
Just make sure it's out of the... I don't know what time it's on, so make sure it's out of the zone.
Yeah, it's in Chinese, isn't it? I don't think it's Japanese, that. I think it's Chinese. It's not misaligning.
No, it's sticking.
Oh, is it sticking? Right, okay.
Oh no,
it can't be perfect, Andy. Let's face it. I don't know whether
I needed to find.
We're getting that really well.
I needed to find something.
You've got to find something. You've got to find a fault with it.
But
you're a proper Seiko enthusiast.
I do love the fact that they've
recreated it. Yeah.
One of the best watches made, in my opinion.
Certainly think the bezel is bigger on that than this. The rim of it.
It is a slightly bigger case, I think, isn't it?
Possibly. Yeah. It's hard to say because it's obviously got a strap on it compared to the bracelet, which makes it look a bit different. But yeah,
37 and a touch.
Yeah, they had the photocopier out for that.
A 37 and a touch.
Same. Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it 9.5 out of 10.
The thing is, the original. How much is the original? So what's that going to be retailing for?
Graded on the dial and the case, they sell for anywhere between 500 and 1,000, really.
Yeah, and it's going to be about $250, $300, I think, something around that.
Yeah,
maybe less. To be fair, I don't think they've sold many of them. It's compared to their lineup. It doesn't fit well with their lineup, I don't think. You know, they're more dive watches and other recreations.
It's burning my wrist, Mike.
Yeah, well, get it on. I need to zoom out for that.
Sorry.
There we go. It's nice, isn't it?
It is.
It's the first time I've actually had a homage watch that I've been able to pair it with the original, and I can guarantee nobody else has been able to put that up against a real Superior. I think if you've got a real Superior, you'd never buy that. But yeah, there we go.
Yeah, like it.
Okay guys, I'm back at my own bench, but I hope you enjoyed seeing Andy's bench. Now, I've known Andy for probably about 5 years. We actually call him Dr. Digital because he cut his teeth really fixing digital watches. He's got a little bit of electronic background and he knows how to repair those. And then he's moved himself on into the Seiko Quartz. And how good was that Seiko Quartz Tester? I'll tell you now, if I had room and the money, I'd have one on my bench any day of the week. I found that absolutely fascinating when you're looking at accuracy of 0.1 second a day or better. I would spend ages trying to fettle that to get it as perfect as I possibly can. And just think that Seiko were doing that back in the 70s when quartz was brand new. And yet they were refining it and getting it better, especially those like dual quartz movements that have got the thermal, I forgot what he called it now, the thermal regulation. You know, they've got that in today's Grand Seikos, which they advertise, yet that technology is as old as I am, pretty much. It's nearly 50 years old. So I found that incredible. What Andy does is brilliant. I mean, okay, he's got a shop and he's selling those watches. Every watch he's selling, he has serviced himself personally. He repairs, or subcontract really. So if you've got watches like that, and there isn't that many people who can do that, his prices, I know, are fair. But he's an enthusiast like the rest of us, so he puts passion into it. You know, he likes to solve the problems. And I think sometimes with the professionals, they turn stuff like that away. They're just not interested at all. So Andy's found a nice little niche market there. And I thought it'd be fascinating to take you guys with me over and to see his workbench. So if you did like that sort of video, perhaps maybe you wanted to see some more of Andy's stuff, or you've got some questions you'd like to see how to solve whatever problems you might have with the quartz. Perhaps, to be fair, what we should do really is have a look at the oscillator, so you can, no, oscilloscope, not oscillator, it's called an oscilloscope, so you can actually see the quartz in action and as to whether that is actually working or not. So if you'd like to see something like that in the future, then please let me know. I'm sure Andy's only 30 minutes up the road from me, so I can definitely do that. There'll be links down below to his website. Certainly if you want to use any of his services, it does come recommended, of course. If you want to buy one of those really nice watches, or again, you just want a quartz or a digital, certainly consider Andy. So that is really the end of the video. So of course, if you liked it, then please give it a thumbs up. Honestly, it really helps the channel more than you can possibly imagine. A thumbs up and a good comment is all I would ever ask from you. Certainly if you found the video useful and you're here for the first time, consider subscribing, because it's watch everything on this channel. Watch everything. So I've always from a hobbyist point of view. So you see my mistakes as they happen as I work on watches. So for the regulars, in this basket here is the jump power that I showed on the last one. So I've already filmed the disassembly. Of course, I've got to rebuild that as soon as I can. Health status, again, this is really for the regulars, and you might be watching this video in 3 years time, I don't know. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer this year. It's been a merry-go-round of 4 or 5 months through diagnosis to having an operation to remove my prostate. I am now pleased to tell you all, guys, last Wednesday, so last week, a week today, in fact, was my 6 weeks post-operation check. It was a real big one because at that point, they give you your latest PSA reading, which is in my blood. It's what your prostate secretes into your blood. So my PSA reading should be 0. It was 0. And I'll tell you, that was a massive sigh of relief. But not only that, they take the prostate that they've removed, they send it off to histology and they look at that. And it gives me enormous pleasure to say that in theory, because they never give you a complete guarantee, but it appears that they got all the cancer was contained within the prostate, and therefore I could be looking at a cure. Honestly, that is really, really amazing. And I literally felt the weight come off my shoulders in that meeting last Wednesday, and I've been buzzing ever since. It's like a new birthday. I turned 50 4 weeks ago, and then to be told potentially I'm cancer free. Wow, you know. So you guys have been incredible. You gave me a lot of support, and I can only thank you for that. But of course, I'm out to make as much awareness as possible. So if you've not already seen any of my videos, you're a man, say 45, 50 and upwards, get your prostate checked. Easy to be done. It's a simple blood test. You can have it done with a normal blood test. It's called a PSA blood test. Ask for that from your GP and they'll tick the box, and hopefully it comes back nothing. But if it does, it could mean other things, but it is an indicator. Catch this disease early, as I seem to have, you could have the outcome that I've got. It is very treatable, but it is a silent killer. It's the most common cancer in men. And here in the UK, it appears we don't even screen for it. So it's quite tragic. I am wearing this badge here. This is it's called the Man of Men, and it's Prostate Cancer UK. I'll leave a link to them. I'm always going to leave a link to them in the videos. Now, if you've got any concerns or queries, the symptoms are not being able to urinate properly. So it's a slow stream, if you like, or you've got to take time to get it out. Getting up quite a lot at night to go to the toilet. These kind of things could, and I will say it could because it could be other things, can be an indicator, because other than that, there isn't much. I had no symptoms whatsoever. I just listened to somebody on the radio who told me this, and I went and had to check and look at what happened to me. So take care of your health, because no one else will do it for you. Anyway, that's always my public service announcement. I'm going to get on, start filming that other video. Like I say, like, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you do want to if you want to support my channel in any way at all, you don't have to. I like to think that YouTube is free and my content is free. But if you wanted to, there are links to t-shirts, and you could buy a t-shirt like this, or you could buy a t-shirt like this, or my favorite one, this one. Alternatively to that, I've got a website. Check out our website. It's got all of my watch collection on it, which is myretrowatches.co.uk. Equally, there's a page on there. It's a tool page. It's an affiliate page. So it's tools that I use, and I recommend, certainly if you're getting into this hobby for the first time, you can go on there, click on some of those. It's affiliate links to Amazon, eBay, and AliExpress. You can buy your tools. It doesn't cost you any more. I get a little bit of feedback, that's all. So thank you very much for everything. See you very soon when I'm going to be rebuilding that jump hour watch, which is going to be great fun, I'm sure. Bye for now.